Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades.
Bonsoir, everybody. Hello, YouTube. It is Gas Masks and Hand Grenades. I am your host, Jeff, and I'm joined by a very special guest all the way from, are you in Bordeaux?
Exactly. In my
There you
apartment
go.
in Bordeaux.
Bordeaux. All we need is some red wine. It's a little early here in the States for red wine right now.
For me, it's a good time, but I prefer to drink after speaking.
Well, maybe we'll have a toast at the end here. So, everybody, please welcome. Now, say your name. It's Benjamin Guerry. How do you say your last name?
In French, it's Benjamin Guerry.
Benjamin Guerry. Okay, there we go. I was a little off, but and Benjamin, I'll try to do that, but it sounds weird because I'm used to saying Benjamin as an American in English.
Yeah,
so,
it's normal. Don't worry.
So we'll say Benjamin. So Benjamin is the original, and I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you're the last remaining original member of the Great Old Ones.
Totally true.
Who are let's see how I put it in my little write-up. I called you guys Stygian astral cosmic black metal. How's that work for you?
It's pretty nice.
Got a nice little ring to it there.
Yeah, it's a good type of to describe us with a lot of word, but
Yeah, and atmospheric too. There's a lot of atmosphere to your albums and your music. It's very I conjure up. Obviously, it's very Lovecraftian too. I missed on the big one, Lovecraftian, but it kind of conjures up these doorways to the unknown, and the music very much speaks to that. And I'm going to give you a real quick little history on how I came to learn about you guys. Now, I'm an old dog. I've been around for a good long time. I'm almost 60. I'm getting close.
Okay.
So I've been into metal since I've been, a kid. Kiss was the first gateway band for me in the 70s, and then Rush and Mahogany Rush and all those, King Crimson, all those kind of bands. But, of course, Priest and Maiden and all the new wave of British heavy metal bands. But I've always kind of kept my finger in the pulse. But the weird thing about black metal is I'm very, very, very picky about the black metal that I like.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of black metal bands that I really, really dig. Like Enslaved is probably my number one favorite black metal band.
Good choice.
Which is a good choice. Yes. And I like Bathory, and I like some of the, but I'm also not really into like the Mayhems and some of the more, the second wave stuff that's a little too corny for me, a little too, do you understand corny? Meaning
corny.
sort of sketchy, not.
Well, it's, to me, to be honest, I like, of course, Enslaved. Enslaved is the second wave too.
Right.
But I really like not all Mayhem albums, but they try to make something different. So we can say that it's cool.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, I'm a true fan. It's not very original, but I'm a true fan of De Mystery Dom Satanas. I think it's a perfect album.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that is kind of like the OG, the original sort of thing.
Yeah.
But they were stealing a lot from Bathory at that point too. So, but yeah, so how I came to you guys was that I learned of you with this album right here.
Oh
yeah,
okay.
I've got props.
I
have props. And I just noticed I don't have that sleeved. That's kind of odd. Let's take a look. I don't even remember what color this is. I think it's colored, I believe. Let's find out. I could be wrong. Maybe it is black. It's black.
Yeah, it's black.
It's black, but that's good enough. But I have it on CD as well too, and then I also have this one as well.
AOTY?
So there you
Okay.
go. I still need to get the first two. They're kind of hard to come. They're a little more difficult to locate. But
Yeah, that's true.
how I found you guys was right before the pandemic, probably late 2019. I was in a situation where I didn't really have TV to watch. I didn't really want to watch TV. And so I started kind of digging around on YouTube. And actually that's how I ended up doing this, was watching a few other of the early guys that were doing this. I'm like, I could do that. I know a lot about metal. I should do that kind of thing. But I was digging around and I came across this artwork. Actually, it's a little bit different on the CD. The CD is a little
Exactly. It's a different cover. Yes.
But I was like, man, this just the artwork kind of grabbed me. You know how that goes. You see something in a record store and you're like, I've never heard of this, but it looks cool. I'm going to get it and take a chance on it. So I wasn't buying it in this case. I was putting it up on YouTube. And, man, I bet you I listened to this album 4 times in a row, over and over and over. I'm like, all right, I might have found a new favorite black metal band. That is some killer stuff. And that leads us to where we're at now. Then I kind of went back and grabbed a few things. And then I had been talking to Will. We've been working together for, I don't know, most of the year. And I said, hey, what the hell's going on with the Great Old Ones? It's been like 5 years. Have they broken up? Like, what's going on? And he says, funny you should ask. They just submitted the masters. This was about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. He said, they just submitted the masters for their brand new album. I'm like, wow, come on. Really? He's like, it's coming in January. I'm like, oh, dude, you got to hook me up. I got to talk to these guys. All right.
Yeah.
I said, unless they live in a cave and they have their masks on, they can come out at night but I want to talk to these guys. So that's why we're talking today. So thank you, Will, over at Season of Mists. And the new album is coming out. That new album that we were talking about, I'm going to show a quick picture of it here, and then I'll shut up and start asking some questions.
No problem.
But one of the main reasons that we're here today is to talk about the new album that is coming out. And let me just give me a sec here. There it is. The Great Old Ones, Kadath. Kadath. And that is coming out on January 24th, 2025, which really isn't that far away. It sounds far away because it's next year, but it's really not that far away.
No, be sure it's not far away, yes.
Yeah. So I guess you're probably pretty excited to finally have this about to hit the ear holes of everybody out there in the world that have been waiting for nearly 5 years, because your last album came out, I believe, in November, was it, of 2019?
October 2019.
Yeah. So what I kind of wanted to do, we'll come back to get to this album in a moment, but where I kind of wanted to start was, I kind of wanted to ask you, can you give me a brief sort of history of the band, like the origins of the band and where we're, kind of bring us up to where we are now in a condensed version. We don't have to know every single moment, but
yeah, of course, because it takes too
long.
much time. Yes, exactly.
It's long. You guys started in 2009, or was it 2007?
2009, but okay. It's a little different because not as a band. At the beginning, in 2009, I began to compose some music. Will be the music of the Great Old Ones, but at this time, I didn't know. I didn't know that. I just composed for myself and about black metal, but something different. At this time, I listened to a lot of my old stuff, black metal, of course, and Slave My Emperor. It's my main band in black metal. But I listened to Cult of Luna, Year of No Light from Bordeaux too. It's a post-metal from Bordeaux. From Wolves in the Throne Room from US.
Wolves in the Throne Room, yeah. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
So directly I made some different black metal. It's not a true black metal. It's not. It's different. It may be a little modern. I have to say that. I don't like the word modern because it not seems to say anything, but it's. I think it's more modern, like Mayhem Emperor and all that things, of course. So I made it alone, and the 2 years after, I researched for different guys to make band. So I think as a band, the great old ones began in 2011
Okay.
as a band. But the origin, the first notes, the first short from the great old ones, it's in 2009. So after we released our first album, Al Asif, in 2012, I think.
Yeah.
The first one on a French record label named Les Acteurs de l'Ombre, so in French.
Okay.
And after that, the second album, Take a Lily, 2 years after that, after the first one. And AOTY, you show the vinyl.
Right.
some
A
minutes
Tale,
ago.
A Tale of Dark Legacy is
Exactly.
the subtitle of that, and that came out in 2017.
And after Cosmicism in 2019, and between, I speak about the album, and between all of that, we made some tour with Der Weg einer Freiheit. Well, it was our first big tour, 1 month tour, the first European tour during 1 month. To be honest, for the first one, it was a good tour. And after that, we made some tour with Guerry, with Araki for the Sky, with AOTY, a band from Iceland, a great band from Iceland. And went some festival, Hellfest, Grass Pop Metal Meeting, Inferno in Norway, a great
Inferno Festival, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of festival and show and tours, and we made our path.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, I was kind of thinking, I pulled a band that I think you have a lot in common with, but maybe from different angles. And I think the one thing, the commonality, the nexus is, of course, the Lovecraftian thing. But you're not the first band that has talked about Lovecraft. That goes way back, right? Even into probably into the 70s, I would think. But a band that I feel you have a similar, I don't want to say the sound is similar because they're more of a death metal band. You probably know who I'm already going to talk about. But you probably know, right?
Yes.
and you probably hate hearing this, but there is some similarities, but there's a lot of differences too, and that would be Sulfur Aeon.
Of course. Yeah. And I very like the artworks are very beautiful. I like the music. The last album it's a very great album. So no, I have no problem to be compared to Sulfur Aeon, but it's not the same music.
It's very much death metal versus they have some black leanings, but they're more death metal than you guys are. More black metal. You definitely lean more in that direction.
Both we are all atmospheric. I'm sure this is a common thing.
But they didn't start until technically a year after you did. They were a year later than you.
I
don't know if you knew that. I looked it up and I'm like, I was kind of looking and I'm like, I'm wondering who came first here because of the similarities there. But I'll throw one at you that's even crazier. This is a German band.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but most people I show this to have never heard this album. Now, they're not black metal at all. And they're not even death metal. I'm trying to get the book.
In Europe, it's there are a famous band.
Who's that?
Sulfur Aeons. It's
Sulfur Aeon. Yeah.
Yes.
But here's a band I was going to tell you that very much this album is called Kadath Decoded.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a surprise.
This is a German band. The band is called Payne's Gray. Have you ever heard this?
No, never.
Okay. It kind of sounds like a slightly less. Do you know the term wanky? Meaning wanky, like too much playing, too much.
Like a shredder.
Like shreddy, shreddy
okay.
stuff, right? But it's very progressive metal. This is a progressive metal band from Germany, and the whole album is about the Kadath story.
Oh, I have to take a look about that, I think.
Yeah, you might want to check it out. I'll get Will to send you the information, or we can exchange email addresses or something. It's a really good album. There's a little bit of weak, late 90s keyboards. It's a late 90s album, like 90, I want to say 1995.
So maybe some keyboard, weird keyboard sometimes?
Yeah, it's kind of the keyboard. The keyboards sound a little cheesy, like weak.
Like the first Dimmu Borgir or something
like
that?
Yeah, like that. Exactly, yeah. But this band is called Payne's Gray, and the album is called Kadath Decoded. How about that?
Okay. So we are not the first one to... Wow. No, I want to quit, sorry.
Forget the interview. Shut the interview down.
No,
we all know. And that kind of leads me to the next question, which is when you started the band singularly, alone, were you, I assume you were just kind of making this in your bedroom on a laptop, right? Or something like that with software and things like that?
Yeah, exactly.
What, at that point in time, was the Lovecraftian thing, was that already established in your mind that was where you wanted to go exclusively?
I don't know. To be totally honest, at the very beginning, where I composed the first songs, I think 3 or 4 songs of Al-Azif, I think, no, at the beginning, I didn't think about Lovecraft. To be honest, it's just music. I just want to make a music. I feel a music for me, exactly. And I made some screamo music before. I had a band of screamo music. I listen to black metal since a very long time, and I want to make some black metal, but my style of black metal, of course. And after 3 or 4 songs, I felt something, I felt something. I have to put something beyond the music, and I think Lovecraft. I had not to think a lot of time about this. I think in 1 or 2 hours, I think there is something, and this is Lovecraft. The music was perfect to me, of course. We have to.
Sure.
I said this is our vision of Lovecraft works. It's not the vision of Lovecraft. It's just our.
Right.
So at this time, it was my vision of Lovecraft when I began to compose. And so I think, after 3 or 4 songs, it was always Lovecraft in my music. But after 3 or 4 songs, at the beginning, not at the very beginning.
Right. And I guess it just reminded me that I have this, and it's the complete fiction story, right? And I got a lot of catching up to do, because I got about halfway through it and stopped. Were you well versed in Lovecraft? Had you read a lot of Lovecraft? Were you familiar with? Okay, so this was a passion for you to read that?
Yeah. Okay. It was already a passion. I think I read Lovecraft since I was 14 years old, and now I'm 42. So it's been a long time. So yes, it was all the time when I was a teenager. Now I'm adult, I think sometimes, and Lovecraft was all the time a passion for me. It's too dark behind me, but all that thing of Lovecraft. I have
a new
traduction. I I'm a big fan of comics, but
Okay.
not US comics, but comics in general, you
Oh,
know.
right. Okay.
And I have, I think, I write all the comics about Lovecraft, the Alan Moore things. I have something I have to show you. If you
Oh,
want,
sure. Grab it.
I see. But I don't know. Yes. Well, we can maybe after we can speak about that.
Sure, sure.
This it's a new comics.
Ooh,
It's called The Last Day. It's in French because at
sure.
this day it's only available, I think, in French, in Polish, and in German. Maybe in US next year. And it's comics about the last day of Howard Philip Lovecraft. And maybe a little spoiler for a next question. Next question after.
Okay. Well, so
Rebecca, who
that's really really cool. That
it's beautiful. I think
wow.
maybe you know.
Oh yeah. Here, let me hold on 1 second. Let me blow you up a minute here. There we go.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
very beautiful. And when we come out in released in US, I really dare you to take that. Look at this.
Oh, cool.
Beautiful portrait of Lovecraft.
Yeah. Look at that.
Look, very beautiful. And so it's a true passion because I have all the traduction. I read Lovecraft in French because in English, for me, it's
Too difficult.
difficult.
Yeah.
So I have the new traduction, old traduction. I have a lot of comics, so I have a lot. I think a lot of things. Know all the thing about Lovecraft, know a lot.
Okay, yeah. I'll let you in on a little secret. I read Lovecraft in English, and I can't understand a lot of it. So
Yeah, it's true. It's
very
old
it's very-
English, no?
it's that old English, yeah. So you have
Yeah.
to kind of be used to that style. It's very archaic and sort of stilted at times, but I love his writing too. I mean, I got to get back into that and actually interviewing you and kind of re-immersing myself in the great old ones the last 2 or 3 days. I'm like, man, I got to pull that book out and start reading some of those stories and refiring my brain synapses a little bit to get back into that mode. So let me, the Lovecraftian mythos is, as we talked about, has been mostly there from the beginning. The first couple songs, maybe not, but then you kind of narrowed into a direction, and that's where you wanted to go.
Exactly.
And let's talk a little bit about the new album, Kadath, because it is a concept album, a narrative album, essentially, right? Where it's kind of the story unfolds through all the tracks, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And
exactly.
and it's based on the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath, which is part of the Dream Cycle stuff. So we're moving away from the Stygian underworld of
The mythos.
tentacled monsters and horror and all that stuff like that, the Call of Cthulhu, and we're moving into the other world, that is, you can only reach that part in dreams. So maybe give us a little synopsis, if you understand that word, give us an outline of what the story is and how you interpreted the story to write the album. And just one quick question before that. Do you primarily write all the music, or does everybody join in, or do you write the stuff and let them interpret their parts?
It's a mix. Generally, I begin to compose some music, and after I think about the concept, Lovecraft concept, because I'm sure all the time it's Lovecraft. And after that, I like the beginning of the band. After two songs or something like that, I feel a certain atmosphere, and I think it can be perfect for that. And this time it was Kadath, and I think the music it's perfect for that. But we can talk about that after if you want about the music of Kadath. But about the story, The story, you said, sorry, it's not in the Cthulhu mythos. Cthulhu mythos, it's about the dream cycle, so it's a little different. And it's the story, the protagonist is Ronald Carter. Ronald Carter will go, he saw his city. It's particular, but I don't want to spoil something. So it's,
Benjamin, could you come up just a little closer to the mic? It keeps.
to the mic. Bon,
There we go. That's great. That's fantastic. Go ahead.
perfect.
So go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so Ronald Carter is a protagonist, an interesting protagonist because I think it's almost an, I don't know the word, maybe alter ego. You know the
alter ego, like a different personality or different persona.
Exactly, the alter ego of H.P. Lovecraft. Because
Okay.
Ronald Carter is a person who is a dreamy, oniric person, you know.
Okay.
Want to dream. He's not very strong, but he needs some help, but he don't want to live in the real society, not interesting.
The regular world, the real world.
Yeah. He prefers the dream. And I think Lovecraft is this type of guy.
He was like that from all accounts. He was very much a loner. He didn't really mix with a lot of people much that often.
He shows his friends. Lovecraft had a lot of friends, but he shows them, you know.
Right.
So I don't want to. The story, it's a long story. It's difficult to read. I don't know. You read the story?
I have not read that one. No. I'm familiar, and I'm pretty sure. I think it's in here. I believe. But go ahead.
See, it's not a very easy reading, this short story. So I don't want to make a lot of explication of the story, but he wants to see his city. But the city is not especially Kadath. Kadath is something where the city is. So he want to see his city, but the old god don't want Ronald Carter to see this city because they want to have the city for them. So he begin his quest directly in the dreamlands, directly on the dreamlands, and have a lot of action, a lot of friends sometimes, and me sometimes. So it's very interesting, very poetic. There are the cats of Ultar. I don't know in English.
Yeah, the cats. Yeah.
The cats of Ultar are very famous characters in the Lovecraft works. So he's friend with the cats of Ultar, and there is already Nyarlathotep. You know, Nyarlathotep is a true enemy in Kadath. In the short story.
Is he like Satan?
No, not exactly. There is no God and no Satan, you know.
But he's like the bad. He's the bad guy, though, right?
He's the bad guy, but there is always another big bad guy, because in the story you have Nyarlathotep, but you have Azathos too.
Oh yeah.
But Azathos is an idiot chaos, you know, and Nyarlathotep is a smart chaos, the crawling chaos, but the smart chaos want to manipulate him, you know. It's very interesting, and it's a story, not in the story directly, but an explanation about the style of the story. For those who don't know that, it's a way different of the most famous Lovecraft works, because the difference is not the mythos, the Cthulhu mythos, and it's a fantasy story. Generally, Lovecraft is horror story, a little fantastic, but here it's a fantasy story with a lot of elements of horror, but the main atmosphere, it's fantasy, you know. So it was very interesting to work about that, because it's totally different of the Cthulhu mythos or all that thing. When you when you take a look to all the band who adapt generally Lovecraft in music, generally, I think 90% it's about the Cthulhu mythos.
Right.
The,
Right.
the
Right.
monsters, the entities, the
Yeah.
death.
The
you know.
dark. The
Yeah,
evil.
exactly.
Right. Right. Right.
And this time it's different because it's fantasy with a lot of description. You have to read this one because in the Lovecraft works, the most famous, there was not a lot of description. Entities are not very described. Sometimes landscaped a little, but not a lot. And in Kadath, it's very described.
Okay.
Sometimes too much.
So it's very detailed. Very detailed.
Very detailed. A lot.
Which is interesting that you raise that point, because a lot of the Lovecraftian and the Cthulhu mythos is about the dread that you feel in your head, not so much what you can see
Exactly.
or touch or taste or feel. It's about the things you don't see that's the scary part of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different in Kadath because you want to describe the great landscape, the feeling of Ronald Carter, but sometimes the fear, but a lot of time it's some more brighter feelings, It's
Okay.
and it's very interesting. And so Kadath, our next album, is a little brighter. I had to say that it's a little different about Cosmicism. Cosmicism was a little not very violent, but a little desperate. There is no much hope in Cosmicism.
Yeah, there is some. Most metal and most dark metal works in the minor key range, usually in the minor key. But there are some major key moments on this album that kind of take you a little bit by surprise. And at first I was like, interesting. But after one or two listens, I've listened to it 5 or 6 times now in the last 2 days, preparing, because I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to set this up or not. And man, I just was like, I did it 4 times in a row. And I have to say this, I know we haven't even finished up 2024 yet. But I will tell you, this album will absolutely be an album of the year contender for me at the end of 25 already. So it's that good. It's a fantastic album.
Oh, thank you.
We're going to get into a little more detail here. I wanted to mention one more funny thing about this album, though.
Okay.
So there's a song on here called A Hymn, like a singing hymn.
Okay.
To the Cats.
Ah.
And in the song, they do the song, and then the chorus has all these cats going, wow, wow.
Oh, okay.
The cats are screaming in the actual thing. You got to check this out. You can find it on YouTube. I'll before we leave, when we end, I'm going to put it in the private chat so you can see it. So anyway, enough about that band. Let's get back.
It's interesting. To be honest, I'm not ready, and I was not ready to put some cat hearing on my album.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's funny. I watched the video today for the single.
The Dreamer.
Meet the Dreamer, right? And I'm going down through the comments just to get a feel for what people are saying, and 99.9% everybody's saying, "Oh my God, if this song is that good, the rest of the album's going to be amazing." And of course, I had to be that dick that went, "Oh, I've heard the album. It's fucking amazing. Don't worry." And everybody's like, "Wait, how did you hear?" I'm like, never mind. But there was that one guy. There's always that one guy, right? And he says, if this is the direction they're going in, fuck these guys. I'm out. It's too melodic.
So melodic. Be sure I'm read that.
You probably saw that already.
Yeah, of course.
Whatever, dude. Then go listen to like atonal stuff, which I love. I love stuff like Voivod and Gorguts and all that kind of stuff. But I like a lot of melody too. And there is melody all over this album. Now, I mentioned I had the wrong drummer in because when I was typing this up, I thought Leo had returned, but he was he was out and came back for Cosmicism, right?
But he was not out. He left just after Cosmicism.
Oh, he left after, right? Yeah. Oh, wait, that was his last album. He was there for all the other albums.
Yeah.
Okay, then I misread that. But the other thing that I noticed is you pretty much have a new band at this point. You're the one guy. Everybody, there's a few guys that are on Cosmicism, right? Except for the drummer.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Aurélien Edouard in French, but it's a true surname and name French. Aurélien Edouard. You can't
Okay, all right.
Some more French like that.
But what happened after EOD that everybody left? Was it just a matter of they just weren't interested anymore? They were kind of, getting old enough and having families and jobs that maybe they were like, I'm just. Is this a touchy subject?
To be honest, there is a lot of an explanation about that. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's wrong, sometimes it's my fault, sometimes it's not my fault. It's a band life, Yeah. So in EOD, it's true. There is a lot. There was a lot of changement after EOD. Yes, but as I said about Aurélien Edouard, he made a guitar solo on EOD. And just after went in the band. So I think to me, Aurélien is on EOD. It's like he already be there, to me. The other member at the period of EOD just recording the album because we work about that, we rehearse about that. So it was normal that he record the album. But I think I'm a little a dictator about something.
Okay. Yeah.
It's true. And I learn all over the years, I learned to be not a dictator, a little different. But to be honest, it was my project, my solo project to the beginning. And you have to manage artist ego. Artist ego, it's sometimes very difficult. I'm honest about that.
Are you familiar with the band Porcupine Tree?
Yeah, of course, Steven Wilson, yes.
Okay, so Steven's a good friend of mine, and we go way, 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 way back. And I'll never forget the first time I interviewed Richard Barbieri, the keyboardist, and the bassist, Colin Edwin. Steve was off doing something else, and I sat down and recorded those guys. And I said, Steve's kind of a control freak, right? And they're like, oh, yeah, he's kind of a control freak. But it's a benevolent dictatorship, meaning he's a good guy about it, but he likes things a certain way. And look, the reality of it, most bands, there's always that one guy or maybe two guys that have to drive the engine. They have to be the ones that keep it moving forward. Otherwise, a lot of guys in bands, and I've been in bands, if you don't have that one driving force that kind of makes everything happen, like, hey, guys, we got to rehearse this shit. We've got a gig in 2 weeks. We got to get this down. That means you got to come to rehearsals. We can't, I got to see my girlfriend tonight. We've got to focus on this. That can kind of come off sometimes as being a dictator, right?
Yeah, it's true. And you have the dictator, and the leader. So I don't want to seem to be but I think at the beginning of the band, I was a dictator and not a good dictator. So okay. I made some mistake. I think I'm not the only guilty in this case, but I made some mistakes. Yeah. If I could return to the past, maybe I'd change something. But I would change something. But now I think I try to be a good leader in the project. And I have some people who are in the band since 4-5 years. Aurélien, as I said, is just at the release of EOD, so it's a long time.
Right.
I think I have the perfect team now. And to explain the thing, there is not just a dictator things. There is personal things, not personal term I can say about that, but Leo, for example, left the band because he want to be full in his job. He's a drum teacher for children.
Right.
He love his job. He love his job. And I remember that one time I said, okay, maybe we will have a tour. And it's exactly during the examen. I don't know the word. At the end of the year, the student have made some.
Like a year end. Oh, they do like a live performance or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's very important for him to be there for
Right.
students, and I understand that. So it was 1-2 times, and after I'd say no, it's not possible for me. I want to be full in my job. So I understand that.
Yeah.
And on the way, we just change of guitarist. We have Hugo now, but just before it's who recording the album was Alexandre Hulot, and he have to leave the band because of personal. You have to leave Bordeaux,
Oh, okay.
and so it's not only me the problem.
So a lot of different reasons for people. People had real life reasons, and let's be honest. This isn't a band that's gigantic like Opeth or maybe you'll get there soon, hopefully, but it's not an ongoing giant project where you're bringing in tons of money that people can collect a salary off.
Yeah, it's true. It's a big difference. If with a lot of money, rarely a lot of problems disappear,
Sure.
But there is a thing, and sometimes people don't think about that, but I have no children, and I'm not child, but generally children in a band, when you play in a band with children in a band who made some touring, it's a little difficult,
Yes.
At the beginning it's exciting, and after that I want to go back home to see my children. I understand.
You have to understand. I have 2 older children. They're almost 30 now. Both of them are close to 30. And that would have been, if I took myself back 25 years and got an opportunity to tour but not make a ton of money. It's fun and it's cool to get up there in front of 50,000 people at Lock-In or something. I mean, that's a rush. That's an incredible feeling. But if you're not able to pay your bills and you're never seeing your kids and your wife or your girlfriend, that can be a tough thing. You almost, to an extent, I think what I hear you saying is you're kind of married to the band, whereas some of the other guys just weren't that.
But it's exactly that. A band is like a marriage,
Yeah.
And when you divorce, it's not very easy. But with the next people, it's different. It's exactly the same. It's a true entity, a band. But now I'm very happy. I have a great team. Some are professional musicians, so it's different. It's a different approach of the music and of the life of musician. I think very nice, and the studio was so perfect. The recording was perfect. So
well, great. Speaking of that, I want to jump out of sequence a little bit here because you recorded Kadath in Paris.
Yep.
How far is Bordeaux from Bordeaux's north, right? It's north?
No, it's southwest.
South.
Exactly.
South.
Southwest.
Sorry, I don't know my French geography.
No problem.
I wish I knew, like, as in I was over there, but I've never been there. So
come in Paris.
I would love to come. We'll see. That could be a possibility. So you recorded at Studio Saint Marthe?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. And you recorded again with Francis Cast. Okay. Now he did Cosmicism, which is a awesome sounding record, but I think he did need a better job on this one.
Yeah,
I think it's a better. It's a slightly fuller production, and the atmosphere and the keyboards are a little bit more brighter and bigger sounding. to me.
yeah, it's true. Totally true.
Now, I honestly I didn't look. Did he do EOD too or no?
No,
Okay.
it was
So
another producer.
what was this decision to use him, and how did you know of him and the studio and all that stuff?
He worked with a lot of French band and French extreme metal band. He made album for a French famous band whose name is Regarde les hommes tombés. It's I don't know if you know this band.
No, I don't.
It's in French, so it's Look at the Man Falls. I mean,
Okay.
it's French. It's Regarde les hommes tombés. He made Schwarzkron. He made Hangman Chairs. It's a great band from France. He made a lot of bands. So
Okay.
he made the last set album. You know, Set. It's a Season of Mist.
Oh, Seth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Who band?
Okay, so,
Who band?
yeah, he made the last two albums of Seth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
And so when I listen to his productions, I'm really think it's there is something perfect for us because there is something very what is the term? Not too modern. We can listen. We can hear all the layers, but it's always something a little dirty. You know, it's not very modern. It's not a gent album. It never make a gent production. You know.
Yeah.
So I listened to all this album. I contact him. He want to work with us. We said, okay, let's go. So we made Cosmicism with him. It's a particular production on Cosmicism because a lot of reverb, you know, very
Yes.
very cosmic.
Yes.
It's
very much
good.
so. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And on this album, I'm really wanted to have a different production, a production more, little more vintage, but it's not a good term because it's modern, vintage at the same time, more loud, more heavier production maybe, and brighter production with
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Plus, I think, and maybe I'm wrong here, but maybe you don't hear this, but I hear the vocals are a little more upfront and in your face. On Cosmicism, they are buried a little bit more in reverb.
Yeah, it's true.
There's a lot. It's still there, and there's still that cosmic, astral sort of ambience and atmosphere to it. But your vocals are very here. They're right here when you listen to it, and so that was the big thing I noticed different from Cosmicism.
It's a choice, and at the same time, it's not very a choice. I record the vocals, and we listen to the music and vocals. It was the perfect way for us. It's not very choice. I want to my voice in front of the
Right.
No,
it just fit the music. It fit the music.
Yeah, of course. Yes, exactly.
How are you doing on time? Because I told Will about 50 minutes, but I knew I was going to.
Just to check something.
Okay.
Up. Okay.
Could I have you for about 20 minutes or so?
Okay,
No?
but I can, but I have to open to someone. If you are okay with that, I can open to open my door to someone.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead. Whenever you have to jump up, just let me know, and I'll chat with.
Up. I send that, so we can continue. When it's ring, I just put.
That's fine, no problem. So I guess the next thing I wanted to jump into, and then we're going to talk specifically about some songs. But who is playing synth on the album? Is it you? Or are you using soft synths with a MIDI controller? Oh, it's real.
No, it's totally me. Some synths here on my home studio. And some at the studio in Paris to make some arrangement, because you have some synths on the album of Kadath who are very important, and some synths are just arrangement, you know, and it's just analog synth. I didn't want to use some VST.
Okay, all right.
It's not. I have not a lot of synth, but I have. To be honest, it's a copy, but I have a mini Moog, but it's a Behringer one, you know.
Okay, gotcha. Got like right.
I have a core, but all analog. I very want to make just some analog synth.
Well, then, all right, that might answer the next question, which was, were the guitars, in particular the guitars and the bass, obviously the drums are real, but did you use many plugins for the guitar, or is that all mic cabinets and heads? Okay, it's all analog.
Francis used to the mix some plugin, of course, but it's not.
Okay. So
there is a mastering between mastering and mixing. It's mix analog and numeric, you know. But to the sound of guitars, bass, and drums, of course, it just true amp. I didn't want to use some VST. So we have some Orange, Rocker Verb. We have some EVH, and to be honest, it's not a loss, but I say we spend a lot of time to search a great sound. So I remember a picture of Aurélien, one of my guitarists. I don't know. He's a very tall guy. I have, I don't know, 6 or 7 Orange amp, and we put that, and we try to find the great sound between the Orange amp. It's not. Yes, it's great. But and we try.
So you're moving the mic around all over the place to get the best. Yeah,
exactly. So we love that, and maybe one day a VEST or something like that. Why not? But for instance, I'm really like in live it's the same thing, you know. In live, I want to use real amp, tube amp. We have
so you like backline behind you. You want that. You want to feel that. You want to feel it coming at you, because now I'm sure you're aware a lot of guys are going to these stuff like this.
I know that.
These are great for recording. I'm not convinced they're great live, although I know a couple guys that are using them, and they get
for effect. Maybe for effect. Our new guitarist have that, but I said, you know, the dictator said to him, no, I don't want that. We have to the band. We have an Orange Rocker Verb. I want to use it, but he used that for the effect. It's not a problem for me, because when you have a reverb, it's not analog in a reverb.
Right.
Or if you have a pedal like that, maybe, but in that it's not analog. So it's not a problem. But we tried some mini amp, you know, it's analog, like Victory amps.
They're nice.
We tried that, but it was very nice, very, very nice. But to be honest, in the end, we return to the big amp, because
Which orange heads do you use?
Essentially Rocker Verb.
Okay.
We have a Rocker Verb 2, a Rocker Verb 3.
Okay.
The 3 it's so perfect. The clean channel, it's perfect. It's so perfect. So me, I use an EVH.
EVH3, a 3?
EVH3, it's EL34.
EL34s, right, yeah.
And the blue channel. It's a little technique, but I'm sure you know that.
Oh, yeah, I do, yeah, it's killer.
So I don't like very modern sound, you know. It's not my cup of tea.
Gotcha.
I like a big sound, with a little of vintage in here. A little or not a little. Average, mid-modern, mid-vintage.
And you primarily use V's, right? V's? V's.
Okay. I guitar. Sorry. Yes, I'm a true fan of Gibson V's. I have a standard one, I have a voodoo one, and I have my special one with all the Lovecraftian thing directly
Oh,
on
yeah,
the body. I
yeah.
made
Was there a guitar player that played these that you really like maybe Michael Schenker or the guys Ken KK Downing or
James Hetfield.
huh?
I'm a true fan of James Hetfield. My teenage band is Metallica. You know, you have the
Okay,
team
yeah.
the team
Yeah.
Metallica generally, and I like Slayer, of course, but I in the team Metallica. You know, and James Hetfield for me, I don't know. I listened to James Hetfield since I was
Little kid.
maybe 13 years old. So.
Yeah.
I have the impression to know them, you know. So
Best right hand in the business, man. The best right hand in the
with
business.
three
Yeah.
fingers.
Yep. I saw them real quick as an aside. I saw them open for Ozzy Osbourne on. This is to show you how old I am. I saw them open for Ozzy Osbourne on the Ultimate Sin tour, 1986. Literally right after Master of Puppets came out. And I hate to admit this, I knew of Ride the Lightning and I knew about Kill 'Em All, but I didn't really know them well because I was into like Fate's Warning and Rush and a little bit more progressive hard rock. Yeah. And we were out in the parking lot, probably doing things that were illegal at the time. I'll just leave it there. We were probably doing things we shouldn't have been doing. But we went in late, and I'm like, who the hell is this band, man? And they're like, dude, that's Metallica. I'm like, wait, what? Metallica was opening? So there you go, you know. And then I also saw them for when they were on the what was it called? Darn it. The tour with Van Halen, Van Hagar, the Scorpions, Dokken. That was 1988, but that was for and Justice, yeah. And that was the last time I saw them.
You saw Metallica with Cliff Burton or after his death?
Right after his death. No, I saw him with Cliff. Yeah, I saw him with Cliff in yeah. Because I remember him doing Anesthesia or Orion. They did Orion and Anesthesia, and I was a little high, maybe. I might have been a little high, just a little bit.
I was certainly like Cliff. Cliff generally is a little
a little high. Yeah. All right, so let's go back a little bit and talk a little bit about the album itself real quickly. So when I went through it after, what I often do is I'll listen to an album one or two times without making any notes, without having any ideas in my head. I just want to hear what I hear. And if anything jumps out at me and grabs me, then I'll go, okay, I'm going to go back. I got to re-listen to that. And the first time I listened to the album, it kind of washed over me. I had a lot going on and a lot on my mind, and it didn't really grab me initially. The second time I went back, I was like, all right, yeah, there's some stuff here. By the third listen, I was like, damn, man, I really love that song. I think that's my favorite song. And then the next song would come on and be like, oh, shit, I think I love that song more than that song. And then the next song would come on like, dude, that's the song right there. So that's always the sign of a really, really good album to me, where it grows on you. It doesn't just come in and knock you out and then you get up and forget about it. It kind of gets inside your brain and takes you over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but so definitively we don't make some pop music. You know, it's always the same thing because you have to listen 3 times the album to fully feel it. You know,
yeah, that's fully.
I like this type of music, but you know, it's not pop music, and we will not be Metallica. You know, I think.
Well, you know, I hate to say nowadays that's probably a good thing because I'm really not a fan of anything they've done since the Black Album. I do like a good bit of the Black Album, but after that they kind of lost me. That, you know, there's a couple good tracks on every album, and then I'm just kind of when I want to listen to Metallica, I'm almost always going to grab those first 4 albums, and that's probably mostly all of us older dudes. That's force
Yeah.
of habit, familiarity, you know, that kind of stuff.
I think we made some album. It's not a comparison, but we are more into. If there is a comparison into Master of Puppets and Justice for All, with something with a long songs,
Yeah.
with a lot of different riff, different atmosphere. So, but I think it's great. I think we have to make this type of music to respect the Lovecraft works, you know, because there is some atmosphere, and in a 2 minute song or 3 minutes, you can't
Can't do
make
it.
some.
You can't do it. You got to build. The thing about your songs is they build and build and build and kind of hit. They hit like an apex, like a crescendo, and then some of them either end or they just kind of ease you back out of it a little bit. And so let's talk about a couple quick tracks here. The one song that really jumped out at me, and I like all the songs almost equally, but the one song that really jumped out at me was Mouth of Madness.
Okay.
Mouth of Madness. I love that song. And you know why I love that song? I'm going to see what you say to this. Well, you already read it, so you already know because I gave you the questions. But I hear a lot, and this is just what I hear. You're not ripping them off, or do you have to go get that?
Yeah, just
Go ahead.
1 second.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. my girlfriend wait outside in freezing cold, so I didn't.
Oh, no. Hey, man, I don't want her sitting out there. Is she cool with you going for another 10, 15 minutes?
No, it's not a problem.
Okay.
Just in the apartment is not a problem, but outside.
Oh, of course, yeah.
outside,
You don't want to leave her sitting out there. That would be a very bad move.
So I understand about the Catatonia thing, you know.
Yes, I hear Brave Murder Day and Dance of December Souls. Those harmony lines that you're doing, that and it's so cool, man, because that is such a unique sound, and I don't recall you doing that in other songs. You probably have, but I wasn't able to go back and listen to the whole catalog before our interview because it took a while to get this sort of set up. But do you like that early Catatonia stuff?
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's an influence, you know, because I like all the old stuff. I'm a true fan of Brave Murder Day.
That's the album.
Right? The composition is perfect. The voice of Michael Ackerfeld is perfect.
Oh my God, dude!
And it's a perfect album. And to be honest, I love the next album, Discouraged Ones. I think it's
great
the next
one.
album.
Great one.
It's a very great album because there is an atmosphere, a naive atmosphere, but very dark, very depressing.
I think that's their most depressing album that they've ever put out.
Some songs are difficult to listen sometimes because it's.
Man, Saw You Drown. Come on, man, that song rules beyond ruling. So and then that's my current favorite track because I kept wanting to go back to listen to that one again, and I had to make myself go, no, you have to finish the album out and start it over. Like I made myself do that. I'm not a track by track guy, but that track, chef's kiss right there, man. And then I do hear on Sign of Koth, I definitely hear some Demon of the Fall in there. Now, are you an Opeth fan?
To be honest, when I as you said, you sent to me the question before because I can read that, and when I saw the question, I say, okay, what you listen? Well, I listen to all Catatonia. I'm a very big fan of Opeth, and I'm a very big fan of your next. So I say, okay.
So I nailed all the influences on the album a little bit.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Opeth, I'm a big fan of Opeth, of all the album, the new album, the old album, Demon of the Fall. It's a perfect song, Demon of the Fall, and the version on the live on the road Roundhouse tapes, something
Roundhouse,
like that.
Roundhouse.
The
Amazing.
version of this song is so perfect with the synth, just the amount of synth. It's on the principal riff. It's perfect. And yes, I think there is some influence of Opus sometimes. Yes, it's true.
Listen.
It's true. Guilty.
Listen, I think Nick Lagerfeld is one of the greatest metal composers of all time. I think he's a genius. And
Yeah.
I just saw them twice, 2-3 weeks ago. About 3 weeks ago. Saw them in New York City, because I live kind of an hour drive west of Philadelphia. So I'm in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I saw them in New York and in Washington, D.C. And I had not seen them since 2016. Just
Oh, okay.
yeah, so almost 10 years. And the last time I saw them was at Radio City Music Hall, big venue in New York City. And they did 3 sets. They did 3 different sets with long show, just themselves. I have to say, these 2 shows that I just saw might have been the best 2 shows I've ever seen. Michael, he sounds like the Michael of old, man. He's so close to sounding like the guy on Damnation or Deliverance. I was like, wow. Yeah. And I was close. I was in the 7th row in Washington, D.C., and I could hear him on the stage, the monitor. And I was like, God damn, he sounds so good. And then one of my other favorite bands opened for them.
Yeah, Tribulation. Okay.
And they were a killer too. So, all right. So the last one is Enslaved, obviously. And I hear that on Ulthar, the track Ulthar. It has that kind of vibe to it. Also, I kind of hear it a little bit on Leng, the long instrumental track. Which
yes.
I have to say, that's a ballsy move. Do you get what I mean by that? In United States lingo and English, ballsy means
okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this, that kind of thing, right? It's a 15-minute instrumental. It's a long song, but you know what?
Yeah, it's true.
It never gets boring. That's what's so super cool about it.
Oh, cool.
I mean, you could say a 15-minute song might get a little boring, especially without any lyrics or vocals. It might get boring. Were there any lyrics or vocal melodies to that song before it became this long instrumental, or was it always an instrumental?
Always. At the beginning, I wanted to make a long instrumental song. It was very a desire to make that, because it was a little, to be honest, easy to compose this song, because when you compose a song with lyrics, with vocals, you have to make a song at the time, a song.
You have to arrange, you have to fit things in, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But when it's instrumental, you have the freedom to make what you want.
Kind of go wherever you want with it, right? Yeah.
And I'm really wanted to make this instrumental song, and with no limits. So I think it's a perfect place in the album. The concept about Leng, it's in the story. It's not a very long passage of the story. It's just a little, but you can imagine Lovecraft, as I said, explained a lot of things, described a lot of things, but this passage is not very described. So it was the perfect moment of the story to make an instrumental song.
Okay.
And
you could kind of make the story fit the music, and the music fit the story. You could kind of do whatever you wanted with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there is a little of influence, not in the music, but in the intention about all the instrumental songs about Metallica, as I said before. You have Call of Cthulhu on Ride the Lightning, you have Orion, Master of Puppets, and To Live is to Die, and Justice for All.
Yeah.
And I think it's great to have a moment, and it's the vocals in black metal is always a creation, So when you make an instrumental song, it's just a moment you can take your brain just yet. And I think it's the best place in the album, just before the last song, because after After Under the Sun, of course, which is a very quick song, very violent song, intense song. You can just be quiet, and it's a great pleasure to hear that you say that it's never boring, because it was the goal of that song, and I think it's not boring. There is just a sentence, a French sentence in the middle of the song.
That's right. You do a spoken word. That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think, if I might, just one quick second here, I think the interesting part about the track is that it's kind of like an undulating thing. It builds and builds, and then it kind of slowly falls and gets more serene and kind of quieter and less intense, and then it builds and builds and builds. Then it kind of lets you down. It's a tension builder and then a release, sort of, kind of, yeah.
It's all the difference between I like that too, but between a very violent song all the time, or grindcore song. It's all aggression, but I think and especially when you make an instrumental song, you have to be dynamic, And
yes, dynamic. That's a great word for it. Dynamic. Yeah.
Because if it's always violent, it's always violent. But if you make a quiet moment, you can make a bam, and the doomy part of the song just after the clean part. I think it's the perfect way, because you can take a habit of this quiet thing and just wanting bam in your face.
Yeah.
I think it's great, and it's perfect for a story, but without vocals or without lyrics.
Yeah, it's a great song. And again, the whole album is great. Now, the one thing that I didn't realize until I looked at the promo that was sent to me, that Will sent to me, they send me an email with an attachment and a link, and I can listen to it as much as I want. And I almost kind of was like, wait, did I read that right? I have to go back and pull that window back up. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. These guys did a cover of Jean-Michel Jarre? Are you kidding me? Who the fuck does that ever? Like, who does that in metal? Nobody.
But yes, but I
Now,
like this cover. I like the
two
song.
questions. Okay, I was going to say two questions. Number one, was that your idea?
Yes.
Why? And two, how difficult was that, taking a song that's predominantly a synthesizer song with probably electronic drums, it's all right, and kind of creating a anthemic, very uplifting, very major key sounding song out of it?
So why? Little story. When I was a child, my parents didn't listen a lot of music, and some French variety music, French pop music, but in the 80s. So they just have a vinyl of a live of Jean-Michel Jarre. So I listened all the time of this vinyl, and there is this song, Second Rendezvous, or Rendezvous 2, you can say.
Rendezvous 2, right.
For me, it's Second Rendezvous, and I think 2 years ago, I returned in a new house of my parents, and I rediscovered this vinyl, and I searched for a cover. I want to make a cover as a bonus track, but I have some idea, and I put this directly and listen to Second Rendezvous. I say, wow, is that? And why this song especially? Because there is something dramatic in this song. I think it's the most baroque and classical song of Jean-Michel Jarre. So I think it's perfect. It was perfect to make a cover by the great old ones. And for that, I think it's a great song with the shores at the end, the human shores at the end. There is something very dramatic. The easiest way to make a bonus track of Jean-Michel Jarre, we have to choose Oxygen. Oxygen is the most famous song.
Keep going. I'm going to grab something here.
Okay. The most famous song, and but it's maybe too happy. I don't know. It's happy. It's a good word, but
It's uplifting. It's definitely uplifting. It's an
yeah,
upbeat sort of song, which it kind of fits the album because this album, while it's still very dark, very atmospheric, it is a little more positive's not really the word, but it's more happy is not really the word either. But I guess we could use that a
no,
little bit.
yeah. But
A
ce
little bit.
rendezvous are the sense of dramatic, and I think
Yeah.
in the great old ones, I really love to compose some music with dramatic senses. So I feel the same with this song of Jean-Michel Jarre.
Now I
And
would imagine as a Frenchman, you guys, everybody knows who Jean-Michel Jarre is, right?
of course,
Yeah.
you. It's not an obligation to like Jean-Michel Jarre in France, but everybody knows Jean-Michel Jarre. It's a rock star, electronic rock star. But
And his father too, right? Wasn't his father
yeah,
a
it's a
composer,
true
a film
compositor of
scores,
movie
right?
music.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I was going to ask you, what's your favorite Jean-Michel Jarre album, and why is it Oxygen?
I my favorite X Oxygen, but this song, Second Rendezvous, is
That's
not on
your favorite.
Oxygen. It's on Rendezvous, another album.
Right.
Um,
Wasn't that the album? Was that the album title?
Rendezvous, it's Rendezvous
Yeah.
avec l'accent.
But that's the name of the album, though, right?
Yes,
Rendezvous? Yeah.
the name of the song it's Rendezvous 1, Rendezvous 2,
One,
Rendezvous
two,
3.
yeah, right. Kind of like Oxygen when they go down. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it was a little difficult to adapt, but I didn't want to use a lot of synth, because it was the easier way to adapt. Yeah, I put just a
Right.
little of guitar, a lot of synth. It was the same song, so
Why bother?
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
I really want to put just guitar, bass, and drums, of course, and there is a little of synth, of part of synth, because I think a guitar is not the good way. And after that, I want this end, this chaotic end, this very dramatic end with all that shore and something like that. And I think it's a good cover. I think I will see.
Oh,
what,
I think it's great. And like you said, it is not an easy task to take a song that is all keyboards and synths and sequence stuff. There's a lot of sequenced keyboard lines, like all of his stuff, and to try to transpose that by ear and figure out. I don't know if you used an online, transposition tool like a Guitar Pro or something, but you did it all by ear, so you figured out what the melody lines were.
Exactly.
And then you built the parts. That's not an easy thing to do at all.
No.
And this thing sounds fucking amazing, dude. It sounds so good.
But not very easy, because I have to listen the lead synth, after the synth who made the melody, and the synth who made the bass,
The bass.
and I made my layers.
Sure.
And at the end, it was done. So no, I think it's nice. For the little story, I received 2 or 3 weeks ago a mail of the personal assistant of Jean-Michel Jarre, because Jean-Michel Jarre wanted to listen our cover. I have no return from him after that, but it's not a problem. He wanted to listen our music. I think it's a good way. It's a good thing.
Hey, you know what though? Just the fact that he knows about it, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, because like you said, he's like a huge rock star in all over the world, but in particular for France, he's probably one of the biggest stars that you have, I would assume, right?
Oh, there are a lot of big stars. We have Daft Punk in electronic music now. Just in the time he made music since a long time. So it's for that it's a true star. He never stopped.
Yeah, my familiarity with French music is generally just in the metal realm. So like one of my favorites, and I'm sure you know this guy pretty well, is Blut aus Nord.
Yeah, of
course. Yeah, just a fucking amazing. And he's done some Cthulhu stuff too, by the way.
very influenced by Lovecraft.
Yeah.
I don't know the guy personally, but I listen all the album, and yeah, this is some genius in his music because
Yeah, he's very different from you, though. I mean, he's it's
it's more
very
dirty, more
very
madness.
twisted, and he adds in a lot of industrial stuff and a lot of weird stuff. I love most of his stuff, but some of it's like, whoa, that is really fucked up stuff right there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like so out there. So, last two questions here.
Yeah.
Number one, what's on the horizon? I think you have. Do you have a festival date you're playing soon?
A little festival this in 3 days or 2 days.
Yeah,
Maybe
a couple
2 days.
days, right? Yeah.
It's a festival, but it's very nice because but going to the studio and recording is always a great moment. But we really like to play live, so now it will be the second live with our new guitarist with Hugo. So it's very nice. We played three weeks ago, I think, in Switzerland, and it was a very good gig, very good show. So yes, I'm really happy to make live show again. Yes.
What's the biggest crowd you've played to? Like the biggest stage you've played?
At Hellfest, I think. Hellfest, 10,000, I think, something like that. More.
Wow.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's a big
That's
crowd.
crazy shit, right? That's
Yeah, of course. I played 4 times at Hellfest, but the first time it's for the first album, so maybe it's 800 people, and the second time it's 2,000. The next
wow.
time it's 7,000, and after 10,000, and you say, "Wow, it's nice."
Yeah. Now, do you like getting on stage at those bigger festivals, playing to huge crowds, knowing that there's a lot of separation between you and the audience because there's a pit and there's barriers and that kind of stuff, versus say playing in a small theater or a club? Which do you prefer? Do you like both?
I like both, but to be honest, we are not a hardcore band. Generally, you ask this question to a hardcore band who say, I prefer the small venue because we have the swear and all that thing.
Yeah.
But I like both, but big festival, big crowd, there is something very nice because you have the crowd of all the crowd, and I think the Greater One music fit well with big stage because there is something very dramatic, something maybe big, and so you have all that thing, and I think in the big venue is nice for us. I think it's better for us. Do
you normally get to play at night though? Because that's a big element of your show, is that the lights and the kind of the mysticism of it, with the hoods and the fog and all that stuff. The what do they call it? Not the fog.
The smoke, the fog.
The smoke. I guess it's just smoke, right? From the fog machines. I guess it is fog. I'm sorry, I had a brain fog there, but I guess you've had to play some day shows though, right?
Yes, sometimes we do our best. It's a job, I prefer in the night. At the night, we played some years ago. We played on a festival. There is not 10,000 people, but I think like 5 or something like that. But it was outside, just with wood, just behind the stage, and it was at night. And it was perfect, because no rain, because it's annoying for gig, but no rain, just the stars, the stars, the crowd, the wood.
Which one was that? Which one was that?
It's a festival. The name is Motoculture in France.
Oh yeah, Motoculture. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And now a buddy of mine here, he's in England. He's going to be seeing you at Fortress.
Fortress will be a very great festival. I'm very happy we will play at this festival because the lineup is fantastic. The place look fantastic too. So I think it will be a great moment. I'm very happy.
All right, last thing, I lied a little bit. Two quickies. Do you have any tours planned in 2025?
We plan that at this time. No announcement yet, not official yet, but we are going to play that maybe I think in February or March, maybe a French tour, a European tour, you know. But I generally I want to speak about that when it's official because
Oh yeah, right, sure.
I can add on something and it's not possible, but I really we want to tour for this album, and I'm sure the Kadath song will be perfect in live. I'm sure it's very good song for live show, the Kadath song.
Have you ever been approached about coming to the States to play?
Yeah, I think 1 or 2 times, but the
Like Maryland Death Fest or something like that? Maryland?
no, not festival tours generally. We want to tour with Sour, you know, the Scotland band.
Sour, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
But it was just before, just after maybe the COVID thing, so the pandemic thing. So no, it's, to be honest, it's expensive and
it's very expensive. Yeah, it's huge too. The country's
Huge.
giant, and getting from one place to the other, and who knows what the politics are going to be like. But
the administrative, I don't know the word in French, but you know the visa thing. All that thing.
Sure.
Sometimes you spend money and no, it's no, you can play. Okay, well,
yeah, I think Maryland Death Fest would be a great opportunity for you guys if they ever, if they could make it worth your while to get over here. In other words, cover all the expenses so you're not losing any money, which they do that for a lot of bands. I was just there in May for 5 days, and I saw a lot of bands I never thought I'd ever get to see.
I want to make that. I went 2 times in US as a tourist. I went very touristic things.
Okay.
To be honest, I mean, all the California, you know, San Francisco, Los Angeles,
Right.
Grand Canyon, something like that. And I went to New York and make a pilgrimage to Providence to go to the older thing of Lovecraft. I make this.
I saw that picture. That's really cool, man. That's
it was a dream.
Where's he at again? Where's his body?
Providence,
Connecticut, Rhode Island,
near Boston.
Yeah, that's super cool, man.
It's very, very cool. And you have, if you want one day to go to in Providence, you have his body, his grave, but you have a lot of house used in this story. So if you can, can roll. Oh, it's the Call of Cthulhu. There is this story. Oh, the case of Charles Dexter Ward. There is this house in the story.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. And when I went to Providence, there is a library, the bibliothèque in France, but it's a library, I think. And they have a lot of manuscript of Lovecraft. And I went to the library and I see all this manuscript of Lovecraft, and I can look at this true manuscript of Lovecraft. It was a perfect moment, you know.
Last thing here. I was talking to Will and I said, we got to get these guys over here. We got to figure out a way to get them over here. I said, I got the perfect tour. Are you ready? This is the perfect tour right here. All right. Are you familiar with Phil Tougas?
No, maybe.
He's a guitar player, a shredder that plays in the band Worm.
Worm, I know Worm, but
okay,
I don't know.
So Phil's band, it's kind of a Cthulhuian death metal band called Cathedalist. Do you know Cathedalist?
Yes.
So that's Phil's band.
Yeah,
he's a good buddy of mine. So Cathedalist, you guys, Sulfur Aeon, and Enslaved. And Enslaved. Tell me that's not the best film ever.
But I want all the band, but forgot the band, just Enslaved, and yes. Well,
oh, you're good with just Enslaved too?
No, but it's a very good idea. But I think all that band have this atmosphere, but with a lot of identity, you know. So I'm sure a package like that will be not boring because
Oh,
it's not for the same gigs. It's each identity are different, so it
we're
could be
just
very great.
we're just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks here. But that would be an amazing package. But
Yeah, it's
like
true.
you said, all the visas and all that stuff would probably be.
I'm ready to work on that, but no, it's true. But for a good opportunity, it's
Yeah.
just a little opportunity, too money to make that. But for a good opportunity, I can work on that. Season of Mist, our label, have a desk in Philadelphia. I think it's in Philadelphia.
Yes. Yeah, they do. Yep.
So I think they can provide some help about that. So yes, I'm really want to tour in the US.
I'll
We will
start
see.
I'll start working Will. I'll be on Will all the time going, all right, let me talk to your boss. We got to make this happen. So,
Yes,
listen, man, I want to thank you so very much for all your time today. And I
thank
apologize
you very
for
much.
going too long. I as soon as I told Will 50, I'm like, you should have told him 75 because I know this is going to be longer than it always works out that way. I like to talk and I like to let my guests go as much as they can, and I usually throw stuff in there. So I hope you enjoy. I hope
was a
you
pleasure.
enjoyed this.
Yes. I hope my English was not too.
You did great.
But
You
if
did
you
great.
understand what I said, it's important. But it was a very pleasure. I'm always a pleasure to speak about the band, of course, but about Lovecraft too. So and I hope maybe we will meet in real life, maybe in the
That would be
US.
cool. That would be very cool, man. Hey, Roger, my buddy, he's from Norway actually. Roger Kvorchik. I always say his name wrong, but what's he saying there? Regard les hommes d'humeur. I don't know what that means.
What you say?
Look on the screen below me.
It's the name of the band, the French band. I said
Oh,
before.
that's the band you were talking about.
Yeah,
Okay, I
exactly.
don't know them. I don't know them actually, so that's one for me to go check out.
Exactly. It's a great band, friend from of us, and a very nice guy and very good music.
Listen, everybody, this album doesn't come out for another 2.5 months. Trust me, this is a mega banger album. It is fucking awesome, man. It is. I don't want to say it's your best album yet because I don't know the first two. I honestly don't have those yet, and I love the other two. So I think it fits in very nicely with those two. A little less dark, but and just man, just you did a hell of a job on this album. And
Thank you.
everybody, there are links in the description of the video. The pre-orders in there. Go grab yourself a copy. I should mention that the cover version of the Jar song Rendezvous is only on the vinyl and the limited edition of the CD, which comes in a box with a key and I think a bookmark, and then it is on that CD. It's not on the regular standard CD.
Yeah, just on the limited edition and the LP and the vinyl. Yes.
Yeah, and I just talked to Will today, and I said, hey, I gotta order a vinyl, but you mentioned San Francisco. I just booked a trip to Denver to see the Decibel Fest out there in Denver, and then I'm going to my buddies in San Francisco for a week. I gotta wait till the end of the month when I get paid. I'm like, hey, you better put me one of them gold marble albums aside. He said, we only have 70 left. So there you go. They're selling. There's 250 of those. Do you know the numbers of the other variants?
No, to be honest, like that, I don't know. In the US, I think they don't press a lot of vinyl, because we are not very well known in the US. So, but I think there will be no problem if you want in 1 month or something like that. It's the album Kadath is not released yet, so
yeah, and also in the description there is a link to the video for the Dreamer, and go check that out. It's a mind-blowing song. I mean, you started out the album with an 11-minute song. You're not
Yeah.
not bashful. You just go for it, man. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm going in there and we're
To be
doing.
honest, I don't care about make a single of two. It's the first song of the album. It's the beginning of the quest of Randolph Carter. It's the song for the first single.
And it's a great song, man. That riff where you get into that lurching, jung 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 jung.
Yes, you like that? Wow.
Oh, it's so good, man. It's so good. It's not gent, but it's
No,
But
don't
it's-
say that, please.
no, it's fucking killer riff, man. So please hold on one moment for me, Benjamin, so I can send you something real quick, and I'll get you out of here. Okay, everybody, thank you for joining me. We had like 14 people at one point in time. It's the middle of the day over here, so
Okay.
yeah, a lot of people are at work right now. So
Thank you, everyone. Merci beaucoup à tous, alors. Si
there
je
we
peux parler
go.
français.
That
Merci
yeah,
beaucoup.
merci beaucoup. All right, so thank you everybody, and go buy this album, man. Like, if I tell you it's fucking good, it's good. So go buy it. All right. All right. Cheers, everybody. All right, hang on one sec, Benjamin.